Hello there, and welcome to the podcast with SerAaron and friends. My name is SerAaron, also known as William, and these are my two friends, Brian.
Hello.
And old man Dave.
Will, have you been drinking at all? Because I'm a bit concerned by that intro. The fact that most of it wasn't actually English, it was just you kind of trailing off.
I think that was our best one yet, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that was...
That sounded pretty good for the 40th take, to be honest. I think we got a winner.
We're not doing any more.
Alright, so, in the background today, I am playing Arklash Legacy, which... well, this is just the demo. I didn't actually buy it. Because I saw this game on Steam in the demos list and thought it looked really interesting. And then I found out that it has actually been out for ages. But I played the demo anyway.
I like the art so far.
Yeah,
This is a pretty nice looking loading screen.
Yeah, loading screen's very long in this game. Don't know why. Maybe it's just the demo. It's set in the Confrontation universe, which you two probably don't know about, but it's basically it's a war game universe, like Warhammer 40k or something like that. But it's like it was kind of late on the train in the whole tabletop war game universe things, because it was like Warhammer, Games Workshop, all that stuff came out. Then about 10 years ago, maybe, a war game called... wait, what the fuck is up with the video? Oh yeah, that's just the introduction. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah, then a war game called War Machine came out, and then as I stopped playing war games, a new setting called Confrontation came out. I think it might be by the same people that made War Machine, although I might probably be wrong on that. Either way, it's a pretty cool, alternate fantasy universe, as opposed to your standard orcs, goblins, dwarves, all that shit. It's got different base races, except for humans, and a really interesting lore setting, which I don't know that much about, but probably should know more about because it's quite cool.
What's that creature in the left, the one with the green lights?
The one with the green lights, that's... I don't know what that thing's called, but it's like a sort of dinosaur thing. It's really... and then the person at the back with the three-bladed thing, that's like a dog lady.
Yeah.
The little guy's a gnome, I think, or a goblin.
Oh.
And the woman is a human, I think.
So it looks like an action RPG from here.
Yeah. So basically, this game is Icewind Dale.
Yeah.
Yeah. It uses the same gameplay mechanics as those games. So you can pause the game and tell people to do stuff, and then unpause, and then they'll do it. Which is why I was interested in playing it, because I saw that and I was like, oh, because we'd been talking about Project Infinity a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. I wonder if this is actually decent or not. And it's not that bad.
Would you say it's as complicated and difficult as Baldur's Gate?
No, it's very easy. In fact, I turned the difficulty up to hard after this battle, I think, because it's just very easy.
Yeah, they just seem to be hitting each other.
Yeah, this is on normal difficulty. Later on, there's a boss fight which I repeatedly fail, and so I wind up going to hard mode. I wind up going down to easy mode in the end just to kill it and progress, because I spent way too long on it. Yeah, it's you have to play on hard mode or higher in order to actually get a challenge out of this game. So story-wise, the characters that we're playing are actually not evil, but definitely not good guys. They're basically extortionists or bailiffs, right? Like these guys work for like a big guild of extortionists, and they're like the best of the best in terms of warriors, and they're sent out to collect debts and shit. So it's
that's a unique take.
Yeah, it's fun being like not the brave heroes or whatever for once. And the main enemy of this section is these like paladin-looking dudes, which their design actually reminds me of the paladins from Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Soul Reaver 2 if you played that.
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, because you basically go around playing as Raziel, who's like a soul wraith person, and you're constantly fighting these paladins and knights and all kinds of heroes and stuff.
Yeah. So you see here, I've paused the game and I'm like telling people to use their abilities and shit, because in that first fight I just clicked attack on everything. So there isn't really classes either, as far as I can tell, because I don't know, maybe in the main game you can make your own heroes or something, but I doubt it. So these characters are like that. The woman there is the mage. The dog lady with the chakram or whatever you want to call it is the cleric, effectively, like a warrior healer. The dinosaur lady is the tank, and the goblin dude is the rogue.
Assuming this is a prologue, you probably get completely fresh characters when you actually start the game.
Yeah, it's possible. The demo ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, so and like the hinting at a new character joining your party.
I don't suppose it's got multiplayer, has it?
I don't know. Let's find out. Steam Arklash.
Steam, give me the answers.
Arklash Legacy. Oh, it's on sale at the moment. Shit, I might buy it. It's £6.40 at the moment until February 24th. Let's see. Multiplayer. What does it say? No, single player only. That's a shame.
I see it's got different categories for all these skills. Like quite bizarre ones, like increase. So
they're
rather
like
than buff?
status effects have different names and stuff as well.
This seems like a more combat-heavy version of a sort of Icewind Dale game, because I know games like Divinity: Original Sin is more of an Icewind Dale, or more of a Baldur's Gate game.
Yeah,
where you do a lot of walking around, talking, and the battle system's the same.
I forget what it's called. I think it was called like Dungeons and Dragons. Fuck. Dungeons and Dragons.
Fuck. Oh, is that the one you had on GOG, Brian?
Yeah, it's on GOG. I had it for ages.
Dragon Shard?
Dragon Shard, yeah. Reminds me a little bit of Dragon Shard, only it's not, in Eberron. I hate Eberron.
Yeah, the art kind of looks a bit like it.
Yeah, it plays kind of similar, except it also has the, like, Icewind Dale Baldur's Gate pause mechanic, which Dragon Shard didn't, I don't think.
No, Dragon Shard's just a kind of RTS, really.
Yeah, Dragon Shard
With a
felt
couple of quirks.
like a shittier version of Warcraft 3.
I don't know, it did have some nice aspects, like the dungeon area was cool.
Yeah, exploring in that game was probably the best part of it.
Yeah.
And I imagine I would have played more if my computer hadn't just continually crashed whenever I tried to run it 5 years ago or whatever. I have it on GOG. I should probably play it all the way through at some point. Because I remember I had fun with it at times. And probably the most frustrating part of that game was it just crashing after every mission or whatever, and then I'd have to redo it if I forgot to save or something.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of reminds me of I had a massive phase of playing through the campaigns in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
So I did all of the campaigns in the original, and then then the campaign and the expansion, I got to the final level because I'd been playing through on hard, and then I was like, huh, this is too hard. I'm going to turn it down to normal. So it got rid of all of the items that I'd gained. So I'd have to do the final fight with nothing. Wow. And I never completed it because of it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about games that do let you change the difficulty while you're playing.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I like, for the purpose of this playthrough that I'm doing at the moment, like, it's handy because basically what happens is I fight a boss character. Oh yeah, I'm just like looking at the aesthetics of all the characters here, by the way. Like, the goblin has like a clock on his back and shit. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. And
she has like green pipes coming out of her. She's actually a sort of robot dinosaur. I'm not really sure what she is.
That is bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll see what happens is I fight like the boss at the end of this demo and die, and then didn't realise that it doesn't quick save, or auto save rather, and I get sent back to the start of the demo. So I changed the difficulty to easy to get back to the boss quicker. So from that point of view, it was handy for doing this, but ordinarily, when I play games, like, once you pick a difficulty, I don't think you should be able to save it, or at the very least, it shouldn't give you an achievement for, like, if you ever change your difficulty and then
yeah, most games don't.
Yeah, like I remember Fallout has that with the hardcore mode.
Yeah, you have to stick through it, or
Yeah.
easy achievement. I did. I got it. You can check it.
What, you played all of Fallout on hardcore mode?
New Vegas on hardcore. It's
Once you
actually
get used to
surprisingly
it,
easy.
it seems like it should always be enabled.
Yeah.
It's annoying as hell. I didn't want to play any of the DLCs with it on. But
Well, I don't know. I liked it with my marksman guy because I had a little house and a fridge where I'd put all of my crap, and a little shelf where I'd store all of my bullets. I'd have trophies around the house. It was.
I installed some mods for Skyrim that sort of put sort of similar things like that in place. Like, you had to sleep every day, otherwise your stamina would start decreasing and stuff like that. And you had to drink mana potions and health potions to increase your maximum health and stuff. But it got annoying because I didn't have like time set to real time in Skyrim. So you'd wind up having to like drink and sleep and eat and shit like every half hour, otherwise you'd die, basically. And it just got really annoying. 'Cause I'd be like in a dungeon or something fighting some dudes, and it would be like, yeah, your maximum health is decreasing unless you eat something, like, right the fuck now. And I was like, I'm in the middle of a battle, god damn it.
Stop what you're doing and eat this carrot. It's of the utmost importance that you do it. Also go to bed.
So, in the end, I just got, like, sick of it. But I think if it had been implemented better, then, like, I could...
Well, that game doesn't really
do that.
cater to that.
No, I can't get into the 3D Fallout games because I played the original Fallouts, and they're not the same.
Well, I kind of started on the 3D ones, and then I migrated to the original Fallouts. My favourite one's got to be Tactics.
Yay.
But
I never played that one. I played Fallout 1 and 2.
I love the Tactics.
I think because they're so different, they do genuinely feel like different games, because Fallout 3 and Vegas, to me, just feels like some sort of action-adventure game.
Yeah, I think that's the
Fallout.
thing, though. Like, and it doesn't feel... It doesn't feel post-apocalypse. It just feels like a game set in the desert.
Yeah, it's kind of like a smelly Skyrim.
Yeah. Or Oblivion, more likely.
Yeah.
Whereas Fallout 1 and 2, like, actually have the atmosphere and the, like, dystopia. No, not even dystopia. Just like this horrible, rundown, awful sensation that a post-apocalypse setting should have.
And the crazy encounters where you can come across, I think, dogs playing poker.
Yeah, there's all sorts of weird shit in those games. I don't know. I think like maybe it's partly nostalgia because, you know, they're from the same era as Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate and that, and they're like my favorite games. But yeah, I just can't get into.
Well, I
those games
also
for some
hate the
reason.
graphics and animations of Fallout 3 and Vegas.
I've always
They're
hated
awful.
Bethesda's engine for like everything. Like
Yeah.
the biggest thing that put me off Skyrim, and the only thing that made me start playing it was well, the thing that I hate is their fucking ragdoll physics. And then I saw a mod that like fixes the ragdoll physics, and
Yeah.
that's what made me start playing Skyrim.
What about the shoddy animation and the way
Oh
that...
yeah, I mean there's
lots of the
there's
stuff
other
look-
shit, but the ragdoll physics is the biggest immersion breaker.
What's like even weirder is in Fallout New Vegas, when you have your character model just standing still, he stands with like a slump. Like his arms are slightly too forward for his shoulders, and he's kind of looking like he's got a back slump. And I had to download a mod to make him stand up straight.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's when you should know that you're doing something
Also,
wrong.
like,
with the game.
I don't know if you remember one of the laser guns. If you ran into the third person where you're shooting it, his wrist was like broken because it was basically mapped directly to stay stuck on the side of the gun, and the gun was at an odd shape that his wrist would basically go 90 degrees straight down to hold the gun, and I had to download some mods to make them carry the guns properly.
Well, I remember there used when New Vegas came out, there was a glitch with the first-person scope. Like if it was a gun that didn't have a scope and it was just like an iron sight, that would just glitch up and the gun would move up and cover half of the screen.
If you used a laser gun and used true sight instead of the scope, if you zoomed in using a laser rifle, you would just zoom in to directly the back of the laser rifle, like you're just pointing it in front of your eyes.
Yep.
I remember back when I had a shittier computer and I played Oblivion, I had a bug where if you played in third-person mode, then the sky would disappear. Like, the skybox just wouldn't be visible if you played in third-person mode. And if you played in first-person mode, then your weapon, whatever it was, would flash constantly, like,
Nice.
in and out of existence in your hand, basically. So, and I played like 60 hours of that game
Jesus.
with either no skybox or flashing first-person weapon.
I kind of feel I was like suited better for that game playing it first on the 360 because I was more appreciative of like what I had to stick with. I couldn't like mod to fix it or anything. And so I played all the way through without spending hours trying to fix things.
Well, I never tried to fix things. Like, I only embraced like the modding community when I started playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
Did I tell you guys about how when I had Oblivion on the PC, on my old PC years ago, it actually melted my graphics card?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'd been playing for a couple of hours and I was in like this secret snowy mountain with my awesome warrior character, and then my PC was just like... I was like, oh crap. And I turned it back on and it was using the built-in graphics card that had also kind of half melted, so the colours were weird, and it was just like, oh yeah, by the way, your other graphics card's broken. I was like, sweet.
Oh, by the way, I want to mention this in Arklash, if you look at the screen now. So I'm fighting this boss character, who then runs away, and you have to fight him again later on. But one of my characters died, or lost all their health, and after this cutscene, they just have all their health back again. And as you can see in that cutscene, they're standing up again. So I don't know if that's the demo, or if that's, like, throughout the entire game.
Well,
But
I
that
imagine it's
makes it-
cutscene specific.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
no,
think
it happens. It happens later on as well. After every battle, all your characters heal to full for no reason,
Well, again, this is still
even on
prologue.
hard mode.
Like, I think this is still teaching you mechanics, and also the way you're playing it is you have a little bit of a cutscene, you move forward a bit, and then you have a battle, and then it repeats.
Yeah, but
Unless that's the whole game, then that's
if
pretty
it
annoying.
goes through the whole game, I'm gonna be annoyed.
Yeah, that'd be silly.
Because like when you're in a battle, if somebody dies, then you have to go to them and like resurrect them by like holding like a button down on them like whilst uninterrupted for like 10 seconds or something, and then they come back to life with like half their health or something, so you still have to heal them after that. So like resurrecting people in a battle is like relatively easy as long as you're uninterrupted. So I guess it kind of makes sense, like it would just assume that after every battle you would do that anyway, so it cuts out the middleman. But it does kind of feel like there's no penalty for death. At least no penalty for like one death of your characters. If they all die, then it's game over. But
I've been thinking whilst watching you play this that games could learn a lot about pacing from Magicka. Because that kind of left you alone to enjoy the mechanics for a long time, and then there were short cutscenes to just set up the next situations. It was never like, oh, this happened, woo, fixed camera, this
well,
guy
yeah,
walks
like
off.
that kind of introduces each spell one by one, but it doesn't like spend a ton of time like do this with the spell. Now, if like these enemies with the spell, it's just
It's like,
you'd
here's the
think
spell.
you'd think
Carry
to
on.
if you want to go over this lake, you should freeze it and use a freezing spell.
yeah, and then there's like rewards for using the things as they're given to you. So you get like fire just as you leave the academy, and you can burn down that door and get Gandalf's staff, and then you freeze your way across the lake and you get that ice spell or something. No, you get, what is it, sludge or something.
Cold, yeah. And if you mix cold with water, you can make ice. And then I think if you make ice with shield, you get armor that damages enemies that attack you.
Yeah,
Which is awesome.
Magicka's like awesome. I just wish it wasn't buggy as
hell.
shit.
Yeah, I wish it actually ran on
I've
computers.
never completed that game because it's so buggy. It's so annoying.
Still hasn't been fixed either. It's always like that.
Yeah.
So, has anybody been playing anything interesting this week?
Well, Humble
Depends.
Bundle came out.
Humble Bundle's out at the moment, yeah.
Yes, I bought it and I love it. It's one of the best Humble Bundles so far.
I'm gonna wait until the extra games appear before I decide
You don't
how
need to
much
wait.
spend on it.
What's it got in it?
It's got Dust in it, which I already own.
It has.
Uh,
I'm gonna read more because
Um,
yeah, the Humble Bundle 11. It has Guacamelee, Anti-Chamber, Monaco, Dust, and the Swapper,
Guacamelee.
and Gina Sisters' Twisted Dreams. Yeah, Guacamelee's interesting.
Yeah, I remember seeing a trailer for that and thinking, I want to get it, but I don't want to spend lots of money.
Yeah, but it's got like some. They're all mostly side-scrolling kind of action games, but it's a really good deal. Like there's some, all of them, well, other than the last two, Monaco and Anti-Chamber that I already have, were ones I was kind of looking at, thinking, it'd be good if they were like £1 or something.
yeah, Dust is really, really, really good.
That was made by one person.
Made by
well.
one person. Also, it has voice acting by our good friend Anna Kingsley in it.
Yes, and lots of people from Newgrounds, and there's a lot of cool interviews with them as well.
My one problem with Dust is about halfway through the game, it gets really repetitive and boring, and I never completed it as a result of that. It starts like artificially extending gameplay length by having you go back and forwards on like these mini quests to the same like 4 mansions to pick up like one part of an item to put them all together, and every time you go there and back again and there and back again, you have to fight your way through like 100 zombies that all take like 3 or 4 hits each.
Is it like a Metroidvania
they can't
game?
do
Then?
shit to you. Yeah, it is kind of Metroidvania.
So I think that's
but,
the theme
much
of this
more
pack.
action-oriented.
Like Guacamelee is technically Metroidvania, so is the Swapper.
Yeah.
Really, I thought Guacamelee was literally just a kind of side-scrolling thing.
No,
but...
it's all about. It's got the whole. You learn this ability, like you get an uppercut that only destroys red walls, and all the way through you're passing all these red walls and blocked off areas on the map, and you're like, once I get that ability, I'm gonna have to go all the way back here and see what this is, sort of thing.
No, that sounds cool.
Yeah, the game I was playing the most was the Swapper. Like, I was kind of interested in that. I've seen it, but I never really kind of took much notice of it. But it's a ridiculously good atmospheric game. It's the closest thing I'd say is like the puzzle aspects of Portal meets the very creepy loneliness in space of Dead Space. You're like
Interesting.
on like a ship, and it's like echoing and just this sort of white noise around you, and like even the graphics is like noisy, like particle effect noise. And you basically have 2 abilities. One is to make clones of yourself, and then one which makes you swap into that clone. And it does some really interesting puzzles with you like jumping to different parts, slowing down, making another clone, jumping to that clone to save you from death.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen a trailer for that. It looks
It's
really
just
interesting.
combined with that and the amazing like spooky atmosphere of just being alone on a spacecraft in the middle of space with maybe the inkling that something else is there. It's really good, and it's really simple.
Is it 2-player?
It's not. It's best 1 player though. It'd be a bit ruined by 2 player.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't understand why like Dead Space and shit have multiplayer. Although, well,
Dead Space 3.
The newer ones aren't
Fuck
really
that either.
horror games anymore. But Dead Space 1, I don't think that has multiplayer actually, does it?
No.
No, it does not.
That's-
Only Dead Space 3 does.
And that's why.
Dead
it's the
Space 2
best
had like
one.
a weird co-op mode, but no one played that.
Yeah, Dead Space 1 definitely the best of the 3.
Yeah, but it has that kind of atmosphere, and I think
Yeah.
atmosphere is the best word for it. It really gets that to a T.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting game. I've only spent about an hour on it, but I'm definitely going to play it to completion because it's the same sort of thing. You go to doors and you look at it and go, it's locked at the moment, but if I get X amount of these things, I'll be able to open it. Okay, I'll go this way and kind of explore to the west of the ship, and then you have it and you have to go back, and by that time you've learned a new sort of technique for puzzles. I would definitely
Brian.
advise dropping some pennies into the charity or the dev box to get it. Because that and Guacamelee, they're both really good games. I'll probably give them a good go because they're Metroidvania games and I love those games.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that Dust is quite like a typical Metroidvania because it's not. Because it's more like an RPG or whatever, but it's got a linear story. Like, I don't want to be hypercritical of Dust because it's only made by one guy, but it does
But
have
you're
its
gonna be anyway.
problems. Brian, I was gonna say I haven't played the Banner Saga yet, but I watched about 6 hours of gameplay of it over the last week.
You should play it for yourself, not watch it.
But it's brought me to the conclusion. Like, normally, I like to watch Let's Plays when I'm doing other stuff because it lets me get more done and still usually experience a game while I'm at it. But with Banner Saga, like, I watched the Let's Play and was like, I need to play this game. Like, I understand what's going on, but this is nothing compared to what I would be getting out of this game if I was actually playing it. So,
like the the choices going through the guy's head as he's playing it. It's probably like, oh no, I just killed everyone.
Especially
just
when
like,
he got, like, later on in the Let's Play, he got, like, a friend on Skype with him, and they were talking about, like, different choices that they made. Or, no, he was, like, asking the guy for advice as to, like, where to go or what to do next. And he was like, oh, you're in a completely different part of where I was, and, like, you have characters that are alive that I didn't have at this point, or whatever. And I was like, okay, this game, I need to play this game.
But at the same time, I'd advise against watching someone play it first, because you don't want to know anything. You don't want to have any tips before you go in.
Well,
you have to
I
experience
don't know,
it.
I really don't feel like I learnt much from that Let's Play.
Yeah, but when you're playing through and it's like, oh, something's happened, you're going to be like, oh yeah, the guy did this and he got a good reward. I'll do that instead.
Well, I only watch Let's Plays, like, tentatively. I don't, I don't sit there for 6 hours straight or whatever just watching that, so I can't actually remember that much that happened. But it has, like, persuaded me to definitely get it when I can afford it.
You should.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was, a topic with Dave more than you, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Do you feel, Dave, that League is kind of boring?
What?
League of Legends. It's... something about it isn't the same as it was last year.
Are we completely contradicting ourselves from episode 2 when we were saying that it was refreshing to be back in the League of Legends game?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just outright admits
well,
it. Okay.
two weeks later from that episode, we were like, oh yeah, it's really refreshing to be back in League. Now I'm like, Jesus, this is stale again already. Like, last time that we got back into League, like, a year ago or whatever, we played it for, like, 9 months. But I don't know, Season 4 doesn't feel as good as Season 3 for some reason.
I know the answer is.
Because ADC's the shit now?
No, it's called Play Dota.
No, fuck that.
ADCs aren't shit. When I was playing it, I was kicking ass.
Yeah, that was like...
They're not as important now. Like, the amount of games that we've played where we've been against bot lanes that haven't actually had a proper ADC support combo, and they've kicked our ass.
We've had games where the support has been more successful than the ADC, and there's no difference to the team, like, synergy at all.
Yeah, and games where they just put an AP mid as opposed to a support, and, like, weird-ass combos that basically more things are working against the standard than the standard is against the weird things. So it makes bot lane incredibly boring and frustrating at the same time.
Is it one of those situations where it works when the other team do it, but when you try it yourself, you just suck?
Partly that. Well, yeah, sometimes that. Sometimes it's the other way around or whatever. But bot lane definitely doesn't feel as strong as it did in Season 3, and I like... But then even the other lanes don't feel as good either. Like, top is horrific. Nobody wants to play top anymore because it's boring as fuck and difficult as... Like, it's really difficult and really boring.
I had good games as top where I was just getting my ass kicked in lane, and as soon as we kind of started moving around the map, I was getting kills left, right, and centre.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, though. The first, like, 15 minutes of top lane is really frustratingly hard. And if you don't know what you're doing, no
one wants to lane anymore.
Yeah, nobody wants to lane.
They want to just get it done as soon as possible and just kill each other.
Yeah, like, that's what it is. Like, laning phase is over so much faster now. And I don't know, like, something about it just isn't as fun. It's so much less formulaic now and unpredictable, and that's kind of a bad thing in a way. Like, ordinarily that would...
I kind of like that. I kind of always felt bored that you could only choose a certain amount of supports. You could only choose a certain person in mid. I kind of like that bit of randomness now, because it does remind me of Dota, because it's more fun when you just like, I'm going to play this character and I could probably play it wherever and I could still have the same amount of success.
I mean, I understand that Riot don't like enforcing a meta or whatever, but at the moment it feels like there's barely anything that even qualifies as a meta at all. And you could probably have a team of just about anything and still win if you knew what you were doing. Which, as somebody who's used to League being much more, formulaic or whatever, is very frustrating. I don't know.
I don't know what to say. I still kind of enjoy League when we play it.
I've been not wanting to play League over the last week. I don't know if you've noticed. Like,
just force yourself to jungle, and
but
because I still have quite a bit of fun when I'm supporting random people as well. Because it's usually quite interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, like jungling's the only bit that I still like, and I think it's because the jungle hasn't changed very much. Like,
well, if anything, they made jungle stronger.
Well, yeah, but also like, you still need to go around all the camps and shit, and then gank when you can take an opportunity to or whatever. Whereas the dynamics of mid, bot, and top lane in terms of what you're doing during the laning phase is completely different now. And I think that's why I prefer to jungle at the moment.
Also, the 6v6 is coming out tomorrow.
Oh, is that tomorrow?
Yep.
Ooh. Okay.
We should try that, because that's going to be really weird to see what and a whole other champion can add to things.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? You're going to have, like, a triple bot lane, you're going to have a double mid.
2 junglers.
Yeah, 2 junglers. Have just, like, a double jungle of 1 roaming, 1... Yeah, actually 2 junglers would probably be better for experience-wise.
If you can, like, force the enemy jungler out of their jungle, then definitely. Yeah, there should be some interest. Yeah, I'm gonna play on Friday with that probably. Yeah. But I don't know. Something feels off about season 4 to me now. Now that I've been playing it for a while.
Will.
Yes.
Yeah, it probably is me.
You're.
Like, something about it doesn't click with me like season 3 did.
Just doesn't get you like Dota does.
No, but I fucking hate Dota.
It doesn't give you that raw adrenaline rush that is Dota 2. Where William said, and I quote, "This is sloppy as shit."
It is. It's awful.
Me and Jack have been playing against unfair bots, which is the highest difficulty on Dota 2, and it means that if one of our team quits, they don't balance the team, so it'll always be a handicap, and they seem to know where you are at all times. And I think they get extra gold.
That sounds fun.
It's hilarious. It really makes it feel like it's more of a struggle than just you bursting through bots like LoL.
Actually, that's something I'm looking forward to in LoL. They said they're going to make changes to the bots, and I'll be interested to see what those changes are.
This is completely off topic, but it's reminded me of when I used to play Perfect Dark, and you could set the bot difficulty and you could mess around with them. So you can set their handicaps to have like 400 times the amount of health.
Oh, yeah.
So I did that with just one that just ran around the map hunting us and one-shotting us, and it was terrifying.
I wish you could do that in League, in like a custom game. And
more
just
games
make your
need
own
bots. That's what I always keep saying. That I love bot games. I love a good bot game sometimes if you can just edit them.
On top of that, you don't have to deal with like the shtick from bots like you do with real people.
Well, have you ever played Quake 3 Arena?
No, I don't.
They
really
insult
like
you and they
games.
respond to what you're saying. I actually managed to get the bot for the character Sarge to propose to me.
What?
I have
Like
no idea what's
you know,
an
like
AI.
the smart bots like used to have an MSN and stuff, where if you said something, they'd kind of have an algorithm of responses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They do stuff like that a lot. Some first-person shooter games, I know, like free-to-play ones, try and do that as well with
Weird.
bots. So if you like, you suck, they'll just be like, you suck more in Germany. What did he just say? Germany. Yeah, bot games are awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go play a bot game. Screw the podcast. I'm done.
Sad this.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Topics.
What have you been playing, Brian? Because I know you.
What have I been playing?
Other people. What have you guys been playing?
Thank you for sidestepping me, Will. I've been playing Dragon's Dogma, which
Bark, bark. Did you get the first version or the second version? Because there's like two versions of it.
two versions? I have no idea.
It's like the second version has like got a subtitle and it's the original game and like an extra DLC sort of campaign.
God damn it! I should have got that one. No,
Yeah.
it's Dragon's Dogma includes early access to Resident Evil 6.
Oh yeah, no, that's the old one. Get on that.
But yeah, the combat's interesting. The skills that you can get, you can basically change them for whatever kind of tactic you want. The thing that annoys me though is I don't know if it's the difficulty or just the progression of things, but you'll reach an area that's really tough. You have an intense fight. You'll either have to flee or you'll die, and then just do a couple missions, come back with slightly better gear, you kick the crap out of them. Because they don't kind of scale or progress.
Yeah.
And it takes fucking ages to just get around the map and just go anywhere.
That's what I thought. I remember seeing from like reviews. I can't remember much of it, but it is like an incredibly slow-paced kind of. It's not slow-paced as in the gameplay slow-paced, but like the progression is slow-paced.
Yeah. And it's really frustrating and annoying because the big tough battles are what make the game. Like whether it's like a horde of goblins or whatever, or like a massive cyclops, that's what makes the game fun. What doesn't make the game fun is trying to get to one place and then there's tons of wolves and you're like, oh, I killed them. There's more wolves.
Oh,
Bugger
that's
off, let's run
the
away.
game that like you pretty much can't explore during the night, otherwise you'll just get
Otherwise,
destroyed.
there's monsters everywhere. But the downside is, I thought that it would mean, harder, unique, rarer monsters. But for the road that I was traveling earlier, it was just like, nah, just more wolves, more bandits.
Oh, instead of just like strong enemies, it's just a
it's
high
more
quality
of
of weak enemies.
Yeah, although I haven't explored any dungeons during night apart from this shortcut one that's empty.
I remember
they're-
like seeing stuff from that and getting really excited by it, especially like the pawn system where you can make little guys.
Yeah, I kind of
Okay.
wish that I'd spent more time thinking up of a kind of relationship between my main character and the pawn, because my character's just a man, like a dark-haired man, so I was just like, oh, just make a light-haired woman who's an archer. But I wish I'd made like his son or his daughter or something, and made like a smaller kid, so when I'm fighting, if they're in danger, I'll be like, no, Jimmy!
Oh yeah,
But-
and that you can like edit their voice and stuff. Yeah. And they keep shouting, so sometimes you can give like a giant burly man a really high pitched voice.
Yeah. So the downside to my pawn is I kind of made this generic creature that I just don't give a shit about.
It's creature. Did you call her a creature?
It's like after coming off of a game like Banner Saga and then going to this where there's no genuine connection between everything. I just
Yeah.
feel if I'd made a more internalized one, it would add to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like I've started doing that a lot with things that don't like have their own story aspects or whatever. Just like make my headcanon of who my characters are and what their relations are and shit.
So every time you say that word, I just imagine you with a massive cannon on your head.
Headcanon.
Yeah, bosh.
Like God, I'm trying to think now. I can't think of an example. But
Need some ammunition for your head cannon, Will?
Just like RPG games, especially where you get to make your own characters. Just making them less generic by adding your own bios or whatever makes things more interesting, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, I did that a lot when I was playing Metal Gear Solid, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I'd come up with stories for these guards.
Oh, for guards, not for the main characters. I was gonna say, like, they already have a lot of backstory, Brian.
Yeah.
Snake's now a transvestite.
In Metal Gear Solid 4, the one moment that I did enjoy was there's this part where you're running along with these allies, and they were all getting mowed down, and this one guy was about to get shot. So I grabbed him and slammed him to the floor, and I was like, "You're okay, man. I just saved you. Now, don't get up." I just left him to sleep. And then I think there was like a cutscene where Snake passes out, and I was like, "Where is he?" "Oh, it's all right. I probably just overslept. He's absolutely fine." But that just made it much more fun for me.
This Metal Gear 4.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You
What
didn't,
fun
you,
it
you
had.
didn't like that one very much, did you?
No, that's the one moment that I did like. Apart from when I was taking everyone out with my Metal Gear Solid 3 CQC moves. That was fun.
So
Made me
is it
feel like a
the
big man.
gameplay in MGS4 that you don't like, or the story, or everything?
Everything.
Everything.
Literally everything.
I like the story of MGS4. Mostly.
I don't like you.
Nothing really happens.
I don't like the bit where Raiden survives getting hit by a boat. But other than that...
Well, I hated... Out of the many things I hate the way that they made Mei Ling look. I hated the way
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the bit before the new Outer Heaven appears, yay, original naming, it has Mei Ling and some random pointless NPC who's like, "Oh, I'm scared."
Oh yeah.
And they spend about 5 minutes just saying, "Oh, don't be scared, it's okay, it doesn't matter."
No, but she doesn't even have the Chinese accent anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that is another really bad thing.
She doesn't
say
look
that.
Chinese, she doesn't sound Chinese, it's
She
dumb.
looks like stupid kawaii anime girl instead of like a genuine Japanese person.
Chinese.
Same thing.
She, like...
Well, yeah, that just makes it even worse.
Well,
Well,
no,
they make
she
a
looks American, if anything.
Yeah, like a Western.
Looks and sounds
Asian.
American, which just doesn't make sense. Like, even though Mei Ling was like a stereotypical portrayal of a Chinese woman, like, it gave her character.
Yeah. And it fit in with how different the other characters
Yeah.
were, because there was the Russian weapon specialist.
She
who was
she
like, "Hello,
felt
Snake."
like a real character in MGS1.
Yeah.
Um,
And I hated how they gave Johnny a name, because Johnny was more of a kind of Easter egg, personal
oh yeah.
thing that you knew about. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, no, he's Japanese, even though his granddad was in Russia." I don't know, man.
the ridiculousness of that final scene with Meryl, where they're like, "Will you marry me? Let's have a gunfight on top of each other with, like, people in this elevator."
Metal Gear Solid 4 was just cliche after cliche after cliche. It was like,
It was like taking leaps and bounds in, like, cliche defining whatever. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that some of the stuff that happens in that is really cliched. Some of it, though, like, defines the definition of cliche.
It's like what you think of as a cheesy action movie,
Yeah.
which is the complete opposite of like what Metal Gear usually
yeah, it's just
is.
like the detective bit in France. So many other
It
moments.
gets a
where it's
little
just
bit
like,
out of hand in places, to say
yeah.
the least.
Ugh. God, again.
the bit where you go to Europe and you have to tail someone who's whistling, and after all of that, you're rewarded with a cutscene and then a turret section.
Yep.
A really fucking long cutscene as well. Yeah.
We have been just ripping
Sorry,
on games.
we should not be talking about MGS.
Yeah, we've done enough of that. We need to talk about a game that we like.
Let's talk about Final
And that's the
Fantasy
end of the
13-3.
Talk about what?
Final Fantasy 13-3, Lightning Returns.
You should kill yourself.
That's my favorite game of all time. I've not played it yet. I've just started watching a playthrough, and oh god, it's horrible.
But yeah, games that we like.
Yes.
Dark Souls 2 is coming out very soon.
Funnily enough, on the same day as Titanfall, which everyone's playing.
What the fuck is Titanfall?
It's Call of Duty with mechs, even though it's not. But it's the easiest way to describe it.
Why do people care about it
Hey,
so
we're
much?
we're being angry and hating on things again. So yeah, Dark Souls. Dark Souls is brilliant.
I'm looking forward to the day Dark Souls comes out and we can just talk for like a full hour about the things we've done in Dark Souls 2.
I'm trying to play Dark Souls 1 at the moment, but it doesn't recognize my controller, even though it's a 360 controller.
Alright, that is weird.
Yeah.
Have you played any of it at all, Dark Souls 1?
No, because I can't play third-person games without a controller.
God.
Use a touchpad.
Use my fucking graphics tab.
Dark
play Dark
Souls
Souls. Grab your
is so good. I just want to talk about the things that I love about Dark Souls. But first, Dave, what do you love about Dark Souls?
Hang on, does it have spoilers? Because I genuinely want to play Dark Souls.
Well, it has spoilers that you can't necessarily find out about yourself.
Yeah, I think
If you don't want Dark Souls spoilers, then
Dark
my
Souls
topic...
is one of those games where the best experiences are the ones you've created through the encounters you have.
Yeah, and a lot of the time when you learn about some of the lore, and then you think about how you played the game, it just has so much meaning, and it just adds this really dark undertone to literally everything that you do.
Should we save it for when I've played it then?
You should actually record some if you can actually get your controller
I intend to once I can get it working.
Because I'd be interested in seeing how you start. Because I remember
everything.
when I was streaming it, I kind of got a perfect run of just running through really, really late parts of the game with just the basic armor and weapons, just running past enemies and picking up all the items. So like at level 6, I had like decked out myself in grey items.
Well, when I started the game, I spent ages. Because I initially went straight to the graveyard. I thought that was where you were supposed to go. And I spent like hours fighting these skeletons, and then I'd kill one, get an item from a corpse, run back to the bonfire, and then that skeleton would be back to life.
Yeah.
God, that was... I don't know, it was a great introduction to the game, to be honest.
That's another game that kind of feeds the Metroidvania sort of addiction, where... after you save, you come back and they're all back to full health and you can farm them again and stuff.
Yeah, I guess. Although, see, I always find Metroidvania to be a weird term because Castlevania and Metroid actually play very differently.
Yeah, I think that is just a term for lots of different routes and respawning enemies.
Yeah,
and
it is weird because Castlevania and Metroid... Well, I haven't played the first Metroid, but yeah, we
Sorry,
all know
what? Excuse me?
Do you call it Metroid?
The first what?
Like it's some kind of French word.
Metoir.
Metroid.
Alright, how do you say it?
Metroid.
Alright, I didn't realise we were in England. Sorry, mate.
It's a portmanteau of Metro and Android.
Fuck up. My brother has called it Super Metroid.
Super Metroid!
I'm not going to change the way I say it just because you guys say it. Screw you. So,
Metroid.
Anyway, my point is that Castlevania did not start off like a Metroidvania.
You call it Castlevania.
Castlevania.
Go.
Screw you guys and going home. But Castlevania did not start out as an exploration game.
No, it didn't. Castlevania 1 to 4 were very linear.
That was the longest time it's taken me to make a point like that.
Sorry, I'm still getting over your fucking pronunciation.
Well, I do that with a lot of things actually, because when I used to play Gears of War.
Again with the Gears of War.
I know, but there's a gun in it called the Boltok or something, but I just call it Boltlock because it sounds better.
Oh yeah, I think we call it bolt lock. Yeah. It just sounds cooler, bolt lock. It's a bolt gun that locks up sometimes.
And speaking of Castlevania, I actually came up with an idea for a segment we could do, but again, it's another kind of pessimistic one. I was thinking we could have a Richter scale which is a measurement of how lame something is.
Oh,
Richter
that's
is
terrible. That's just...
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
No,
I thought we were going to have a segment of just laughing at Will playing Castlevania games, but
No, I'm fucking done with Castlevania for like
you've retired
another few
from
months.
Castlevania.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dark Souls was my topic.
All right.
So
Okay, you and Dave talk about Dark Souls then. I will have like no input for 20
And
minutes.
we can only start our sentence with, wasn't it cool when?
Well, wasn't it cool when you run along and when you run along the end? No, when you beat the bull demon for the first time and you meet Solaire, that's one of the early moments that kind of sticks out. It's your first genuine achievement. You've defeated the first proper boss, and it was tough. And it took fucking tons of tries.
Yeah.
But
Wasn't it cool when you spent fucking hours grinding to kill a boss, and then on your next like 4 playthroughs you could kill it first try with the basic weapons?
Yep. It is one of those games that you genuinely have to learn. But when
And
you
you
learn,
look back and think, wow, I can't believe I actually was scared by this boss back then.
yeah, because I remember rushing through the bull demon part, killing it in a couple of hits with the lightning powder, and then just buggering off and doing other stuff. But yeah, the stuff I really like about it is all spoiler stuff about the lore.
I think we should wait for Will to play it because it'll be a lot interesting.
God damn it. Well, the Dark Souls 2 trailer, if you guys have seen it, it is amazing.
There's a ton of footage out for it. Like a lot of the press have already played it, and there's a lot of them talking about like the starting area sounds cool because it kind of sounds like you build up a community, a bit like you did in the very first bonfire you get, where you kind of had the alchemist come to your part and the sorcerer. So you still go and save people, and you build up a bit of a community of like merchants and stuff, and of course you can kill them if you want, which I love, because who left the first merchant alive? Because you can steal his katana.
I left him alive every single time. I didn't kill him
Spoiler
once.
alert.
You guys are assholes.
I killed him because after a while he doesn't sell anything useful.
I don't know. I can't remember most of the stuff he sells, but I think it was just arrows and stuff. So if you're an archer, he was quite useful. But apart from that,
Yeah, true.
I know something that you guys can answer for me about Dark Souls.
yeah.
Does it still have that same thing that Demon's Souls had, where
Demon's Souls.
yeah, that's how you say it.
Demons souls.
Sure is.
What are you, Will? French?
No, that's how you say it, because that's where the apostrophe is. In Demon's Souls,
Let me
you
just
have
Google
that
the name of the
thing
game.
where you like lose half your health bar if you die to a boss or something.
No, you don't. And a lot of
Okay.
the people that went from Demon Souls to Dark Souls complain about that.
The only thing
'Cause I
close
always
to
thought
that
that
is
was
getting
dumb.
cursed, but that's a rare thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was a bitch.
Yeah, that is actually quite terrifying to avoid getting cursed.
What happens when you're cursed?
I think it does what Demon Souls does. It cuts your health in half, and you can't become human.
And you have to cure it like only a certain way, and you kind of have to search through to actually find the cure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have no idea what the cure is, you're stuck with half health for the rest of the game, essentially.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's really cool. I do like stuff like that.
Yeah, something that like everybody keeps telling me about Dark Souls is the amount of lore, like hidden lore in that game,
Yes.
that you sort of find out sort of tangentially while you play, but you can go through the whole game without knowing a fucking thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's essentially what I did the first time round, and then you piece things together or you trigger more kind of subtle events.
Yeah.
It has the kind of... It feels like a PS2 game in the way that the sub-stories are handled and constructed, because it's not this forced experience. It's all stuff that you can discover yourself.
Well, that's the part of Dark Souls that reminds me of Metroid, because in Metroid Prime, you get the ability to scan things, and you scan things and it makes like a data log, and that'll give you like 1 or 2 paragraphs about whatever it is that you've scanned, be it like a creature or an object or an artifact or something, and it'll tell you about the lore of the planet that you're on or whatever. So you can scan stuff for the completion bonus. If you scan everything in the game, then you get 100% or whatever. But if you actually read it all, then there is that lore if you want it as well. So like you don't have to read it, but if you do, then you get a better like overall experience of the game.
Well, I think Dark Souls does it a lot more subtly. Because it can be in the kind of nuanced way that they say something, or it can be in little fragments of conversations that you hear from people that you piece together yourself.
And also it's stuff like you'll talk to someone and they'll just say some random jargon and you'll be like, oh, whatever, and then you'll walk away and they'll continue to say something. Like they'll just say like a random line and you'll just be like, what was that?
That's interesting. Is it voice acted or?
Oh yes, it is, and they're all British, and they're really good, but they don't sound like they should be.
Yeah, it's odd. It's almost like when you think of like you're making fun of Victorian people, just like, hello, governor. It's kind of like that.
Well, I was going to say
less
it's more like
exaggerated.
someone's reading a book to you, but same thing.
Yeah.
My God, Brian actually complimenting the voice acting in a game.
Yeah, because it is powerful. It's really good. Because I was watching a lore video, and it had one of the knights, the fat knight, the Katarina knight. And at first, well, I always thought he was this really goofy kind of joke character, but there is something really... His character is actually quite deep, and some of the sound files it was playing from the later parts of the game where you see him, which I didn't get to, his acting was amazing. Like the content of what he's saying, the motives and the reasons behind him, were just so good.
Yeah, and like all the voice acting is like delivered with this kind of like pathetic hopelessness kind of feel to it. Like they're not like just like, hey, if you go over there, there's a treasure chest. You just be like, if you go over there, there's a treasure chest, but I don't know if you should bother, sort of thing. Like,
what's the point of living anymore?
Yeah,
It
and
seems-
everything has like this really sort of spooky echo to it. Like they're there, but it kind of feels unnerving as well.
And all of the characters seem to be showcasing some sort of really dark aspect of humanity that their character kind of follows down that path to become a hollow.
Yeah.
Like the Katarina Knight has his own thing, which I won't mention. There's another character that has this kind of laziness that just leads him to do absolutely nothing, and then he just gets so bored by what he's doing. And then you have the ones that are so devout in their religion that leads them there.
Is it kind of like the Seven Sins or whatever?
No, it's a little... It feels deeper than that.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing quite as specific as the Seven Sins. And there's also no character which seems to be good. Because even ones that would conventionally come across as good, there's something really dark and messed up to them.
Yeah, it does a really good job of making you not feel like you can trust anyone. Like you're the only one you can trust, because it is such a dark world. Why would you trust anyone else?
Yeah. Are there points in that game where you like question yourself as well, where you're like, am I really doing the right thing?
There should be. There should be. At first...
Isn't there like
I
a
wasn't
mirror
re-
battle somewhere in that game?
Oh, what, sorry?
Isn't there a mirror battle in that game where you fight yourself?
I don't think so.
I think that was a demo of the second one, actually.
I thought that's like the
I think
multiplayer
that is the second
aspect
one,
where
actually.
like ghosts of other players can just come and randomly attack you or
I
something.
don't remember. I think... Well, they have like ones where they have computer-controlled ones, which are kind of like they're characters on their own. They're sort of failed versions of you. They're versions of you that failed to like grasp humanity, and they're just running around trying to kill people.
But yeah, the thing with the invasions, when you're playing it doesn't seem like a nice touch, but it is a fantastic touch, because they have different covenants that you can join that invade characters for different reasons. Like the Dark Wraiths are the typically incredibly evil ones that are really hungry to get other players' humanity. So you'll join them, you'll invade someone, like some innocent person's world, you'll kill them and you'll get tons of humanity. So you're an arsehole for that covenant. But there are other covenants where if someone has come from that covenant and invaded someone, they can be like reported to the gods. And anyone who's been reported to that specific god can be invaded by that god's followers.
Oh, right.
And then there's ones that protect this specific area, which is the forest. Like,
interesting.
yeah, even a simple PvP mechanic has a lot of depth to it.
Yeah. Is that stuff defined by the game, or is it like EVE, where the players like make that shit up themselves?
No, it's defined by the game. I would hate it if the players made it up themselves, because they'd be like,
Yeah, because then you'd have like
can we-"
clans of people ganging up on people,
Yeah.
and that'd just be lame. It's all like controlled in the law, so if you want to be a dick and run around kill people, by the law standard, you're kind of like an assassin hunting down for humanity.
Right.
And because of that, you're like in line to be punished for it. So there's always a counter, and because you can get invaded when you're human at any time, it artificially or not adds just an unnerving feeling to every little thing that you're doing. Like if you just walk over and get a ring, and you're like, "Wow, this is a cool ring. I'm going to run back." What are the chances of me being invaded as I run back?
Yeah,
sort of
when
thing.
that message pops up and you don't know where they are.
Yeah, like
It's
you just have to
terrifying.
scramble to attention, drop everything you're doing, and get ready for a fight. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
And
Though there are
Yeah.
like a lot of people who try to kind of just kill you.
I'm looking
Any
forward
way
to
possible.
playing it.
I played quite a lot of that game with my brother, which took a while to obviously get him in because the servers are really weird.
Yeah,
But,
that's
What was really cool about that was in the later areas, my character was a cleric who could throw thunderbolts, and he looked really awesome because I kept his cleric robe. So he had all these paladin things with this tattered robe on it. And then I'd summoned my brother, who was this guy with a massive two-handed sword, and he was surprisingly really good at the game. He had enough humanity that when he was about to die when he was summoned, because you can't restore your health normally, the only way you can is with humanity, he had enough to just casually consume it and heal himself. And he'd also got to a point in the game where he sacrificed enough humanity to this covenant that I won't go into too much detail about, which would let him turn his entire body into like this humanoid dragon form. So when people invaded us, I was like, yeah, my brother's here, he's a fucking dragon. Piss up. It was a very fun game to play.
Yeah, cannot wait for the sequel. It's a well-awaited sequel.
I'm just annoyed that I have to pay for Xbox Live to enjoy it properly.
Why don't you wait like an extra 3 weeks for it to come?
Because
to
a
PC?
mate bought it for my birthday.
Ah, right. Fair enough.
So
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go on PC for the fact that it'll probably run better, it'll probably look better,
Yeah.
and there might be mods for it.
Yeah.
well, I won't be able to play it on PC for a couple of years anyway, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
get it cash.
But we didn't play that much. I remember we completed the game in co-op essentially.
Did we?
Yep.
I remember
Well,
doing
you
it with
got me
Clinton,
to
but
the last gate, and I killed the boss because you can't co-op the boss.
Oh, you can, unfortunately. I think I told you specifically not to co-op the boss
Really?
because it's shit. It ruins the experience if you co-op the boss because he's
I swear.
with two people. It's so
I remember
easy.
doing like the lava bits and like when you fight the first boss again with all the tree barts. You know. Yeah, I remember we completed that, and then we kind of left me alone for the last boss to
Yeah.
have to try and kill. Yeah.
Also, the game world is massive if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because you'll go down this really long path and then you'll just keep going and end up in a completely new area.
And you can tackle any part of the world in whatever order you want. So
Yeah, the only limit is your skill and essentially your items, but there are ways around that.
How open is the level design? Like, can you skip certain segments of levels by like climbing up walls and shit, or
Not-
is there
not
like
that
invisible
simply.
walls like blocking you from like walking off into the distance or whatever?
It's more things like you can start with certain items, and one of the items you can start with is a master key, which isn't as cheap as it sounds, because it'll open doors to places where you will get the shit ripped out of you, or you'll just get killed.
Yeah.
So with that, there's a part near the start. You can go down this lift, go through an area, sneak through, and essentially get to what I would consider like the second level.
Yeah.
And then you can just go through that, and then from there you can even just go down into this crazy underwater bit where you'll die even more.
So can you potentially like go to the end of the game like really quickly by skipping certain
No.
areas?
You have to still
go to
kill the
everywhere
bosses.
to
Yeah, there's enough structure to it to prevent that.
Yeah, but can you effectively choose which order you do certain bosses in or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I remember leaving a really low-level boss right to the end and like killing it in 5 shots or something.
Was that Pinwheel?
The
The
yeah, it
Necromancer?
was. Yeah,
He's meant to
'Cause
be
you-
easy. I'm not going to say why.
you can he's like hidden in an area that's actually tougher than the boss himself.
Huh.
Yeah.
But I completely ignored him, and that was the last place I went to because I needed to get to Nito or whatever.
Yeah. Well, with that boss, when I've listened to like the boss music for it on YouTube, in the comments people are just like, "Yeah, that boss was really easy. I killed him in seconds." But then if you listen to the words that are whispered in the start of the song, you're just like, "Oh,
Too spooky.
I'm a dick. I'm a dick. I didn't mean it, man. I'm sorry, dude." Because the game's deep enough to not just be like, this is a game about just killing things
Yeah.
and progressing. There's a lot more to it than that.
Okay, Dave, what's your topic?
It was just a kind of a quick one about. Did you hear about Irrational Games closing?
No.
Yes.
So they're the guys who made BioShock. They've closed.
Oh, right.
They've essentially closed their doors now. Not for the reason that most companies do. It wasn't anything financial. It was simply
They're done.
the
with
very
BioShock.
opposite. Is they kind of want to shrink the size of their development.
Right.
In order to make better games or something.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which I think kind of is how games are going now. That you don't need a AAA budget, a team of 60 people to release a game.
Yeah.
You need like one person. In
Wow.
Dust's case, you need 4
Yeah.
or 5 people,
Yeah.
like minimum, and then you've got yourself a team. And it's proven, like, from small teams that games like Gone Home, which is made by 4 or 5 people who were actually ex-2K people who worked on BioShock. They left, made their own company, and then are pretty successful and have made like Game of the Year now. Like Gone Home won a bunch of Game of the Year awards. So I think it's just kind of looking at the climate of game design now and how easy it is to actually get things together and make a successful game, when previously it was all about having the big company with tons of money and tons of manpower to get that game working. And it's kind of turned on itself now. The bigger companies are going down because they're too big.
Yeah.
They're spending too much money on pointless things. They've got too many people in pointless roles, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's I quite like it actually.
It feels like it's a crash, but at the same time it's not a crash. Because there are a lot of companies who used to be incredibly successful going downhill incredibly fast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got this silver lining of these small devs making really good games, sort of ethically better as well, if you think about it, being a corporations and bad sort of thing.
Yeah, I think like there's definite examples of games that have been ruined by publishers.
Absolutely. Like EA just destroying a bunch of really good developers, like Bullfrog.
Yeah, Bullfrog. My example, or the one that I was thinking of, was the Saboteur.
Pandemic.
Yeah,
I
which
never played
like
that.
They made Battlefront, didn't they?
I can't remember. They made a bunch of games.
Star Wars Battlefront. They made Mercenaries and stuff.
Saboteur was originally like gonna be a much more like open-ended game with like like so much more going on in it, and then EA were like, no.
Oh, like how you mean like how they deal with IPs and stuff?
Yeah, well they were
Dead
like
Space.
They just changed. They forced like changes on the lore in that game and how like it played and everything, and it went from being a really cool sounding game to just being linear and like every other fucking game ever.
Dead Space 3 went from being a really atmospheric single player game to a co-op third person shooter with microtransactions.
And tons of bright flashing bloody clown lights.
Yeah, like there's a reason not many people like the big companies like EA and companies like THQ have gone down. It's because
Also Red Faction.
Yeah,
Red Faction 3, I think, was really good.
Atrocious.
We haven't told you the story of Red Faction, have we, Will?
No.
It was Brian came over to my house at uni, and I randomly was like, let's buy a game. Red Faction, this looks good. Remember Guerrilla? That was really cool. You could blow up walls, and I've never been so bored in my life.
And he wasn't even playing it.
I can't even think of... I literally left the room to make dinner. I was so bored. Like, I'll make dinner. You stay here. And like, I came back and you weren't playing it. Like,
there was a bit like I got to the boss. It had a cheesy, shitty cutscene, and like this crazy mech just appeared in the room. Whoa, action, scary. And then he has this stupid robot voice person helping them, and he's like, "Oh no, I need a plan." And the robot's like, "Run away." And he's like, "That's not a plan." And that was like the pinnacle of shitty writing in that game. So I was just like, no, I got a plan. I'm going to turn this shit off. Bad.
Yeah. So big publishers have a habit of ruining games, but I think you're right. Like big studios also do it sometimes. I think like on the one hand, some companies are doing it right. Like Activision at the moment, I think they're doing the right thing by just pumping out the same game every year because it's easy and cheap to make. So they're basically just hoarding in money while they can.
They've kind of got a monopoly in that as well.
Yeah.
They've got the first person shooter genre, and they've got 6 companies working on 3 games at the same time.
Yeah, but as soon as that genre dies and the next big thing comes along, Activision are gonna be on it like a fucking something.
Like a fucking something.
Like a thing that's on things.
Yeah, because like they'll have so much money left over from other shit.
Well, they don't like. No, I don't think they would. I don't think like you'd think that companies like THQ, they had so many IPs, and they still sold pretty well. You'd think from all the old IPs they had, like just think of all the THQ games that came out in the past few years. They must have saved some money, but they didn't because they're always spending money to make money.
Yeah, I guess.
And that's the problem is when you're ahead, why not kind of just keep doing what you're doing? And then at a point, you're not going to suddenly learn in one game that people don't like your game. It probably will take a couple of releases to find out, wait a minute, like our sales have gone down by 200%.
Yeah, but
just,
if you look
like wasted money.
If you look at the cost it takes to make like one of the latest Call of Duty games, and then look at how much money one of the latest Call of Duty games made, and compare it to like film box office sales or whatever, and how much modern movies take to make, then
starting in Hollywood, man.
Yeah, I know, but like it's so cheap in comparison for them to make a shitty Call of Duty game and make a shit ton of money off it than it is for like any other studio in the world right now.
I think they're kind of the same. Not to mention, I bet game companies spend more money on marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the cost is quite a lot now. I remember the GTA 5 costing more than most Hollywood blockbusters.
I think one of my favorite statistics is that the amount of money they spent to market Halo 3 was more than the amount of money they originally spent on the first Halo game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying when you think about it.
Especially since like you really didn't need to market Halo 3. Like anybody that played the first 2 games was gonna buy the third one.
But
Well,
it's kind of like
console seller back then.
if you go to Rwanda and then there's a starving kid and it's just like, why in America do they get all the money over there? And they're just like, well, because Halo 3 had
That's
to be
why
made.
we like the Humble Bundle. That's why I love stuff like that. That's why I'm like really thankful for stuff like Humble Bundle existing, because they sell tons of good games that deserve to be sold, which give money to developers and to charity at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the perfect world.
So if you're buying a COD game, you're feeding the machine.
And until the Call of Duty Humble Bundle comes out.
Which,
I bet there will be.
There probably will
They haven't done
be.
an
That would
Activision
soil
one yet,
it.
but I bet they will one day.
Alright. We've got 12 minutes left. I want to talk quickly about
Again, Will?
the importance of demos nowadays, which is kind of linked to what we were talking about before. Which links us back to the Arklash Legacy demo as it's coming to a close. I really enjoyed this demo. It was fun, engaging, relatively challenging. You see, like, I've only just killed that boss after like half an hour. And it's made me interested in it. It's made me want to play the whole game. And I've just, like I said earlier, seen that it's on sale at the moment, so I'm probably going to buy it after we finish the podcast. So
I
I'd
think-
say this is an example of a good demo, but there are games out there that have shit demos.
Well, I think the main thing is having a demo is a little outdated now when you just have early access. But if you remember podcast number 1, I hate early access.
Me too.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, I would download
I love
a
early
demo
access.
for
I think it's the
something.
greatest thing ever. Steam Greenlight, stroke of magnificent.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, when you're a kid and you download a demo, you play it so much you get used to everything, but you really enjoy it because it's like this polished thing that they're like, this is what's going to represent our game. It's not like early access. I don't know. Here's just go in that room, do something for a bit. Like demos were made to get you enticed.
It's also a good way to like tutorialize shit as well, so that when you play the actual game, you don't need a fucking tutorial.
Even though you're forced to play through anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a different topic. There's what was it? Stanley Parable had that demo, which was completely unique to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
To the point where it was worth playing the demo and the actual game. And I really think that more games should do that. Well, more developers in general should pay more attention to their demos, because the ones that don't, like, it really shows.
I will give you an example of a demo that made me buy a game, and that was PsyOps. PsyOps demo was the greatest demo
PsyOps
ever
the
because
lie.
it just...
No, that you're thinking Spec Ops.
Spec Ops.
PsyOps, PS2
PsyOps.
game. It was an action game, but the gameplay was almost revolutionary for the time. And
Right.
like
Oh, is
the
that
demo
telekinesis
essentially
one?
had
Yeah.
it had a sort of default campaign, but also it just had a room which let you spawn people and throw them into boxes just forever.
I used to
And you
play
could just
that
do
game
that,
with
and
my
I was just
friends.
like, this is the greatest demo ever.
yeah, there'd be times when I'd go around Dave's house and we would just stay up playing that little demo.
Just a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing that at my friend's house and just finding it hilarious.
Yeah, there was an interview on the final game in the extras where the developer was just talking about it, and he sent it to someone to see if they would go ahead and fund the project. And when he went into the guy's office, he was just throwing a guy against like the ceiling constantly and laughing his ass off. So it was like, yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah,
I think I don't think demos work nowadays though, because
I think they do, because like
I think
especially
they
with
don't
Steam
because,
and stuff, because it's just
yeah.
like
Well, that's the whole point though. You're spoiled for choice already.
yeah, but
I mean, I can already buy the game for like £1.
that's true, but like during non-sale periods, if a new game comes out and I'm like, not sure if I want to get this or not, and like the reviews are mixed or it doesn't look like the sort of game that you can experience just by watching a Let's Play, then I'm like, well, what's the demo like? And I just go on Steam, click play demo, and a few minutes later, I'm playing the demo, and I'm like, yes, this is worth it. Yes, this isn't worth it.
I've played on Steam where the demo swayed my purchase. Like most of it is just to see what it's like or if it runs on my computer.
And what's in a sale, I guess.
Even if like I play a game on demo and think I like it, I still won't buy it when it's on unless it's on sale. In which case, I don't buy games unless I really want to play them on sale, because I'm already spoiled for choice on Steam.
It used to be different, I guess, when you'd get PC magazines that would have those demo discs.
Well, that's the whole point though. Back then, you didn't have Steam. You didn't have sites
like
that just
a good
listed all the games for you to play.
Off, yeah.
It's because you needed them back then. Now, there's no point having a magazine with a disc with it. You could just send them a link.
Yeah.
I prefer the magazines with the demo disc, to be honest. I'm getting old.
It's there's a certain nostalgia to it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a nostalgia thing, the demos. Like, I remember a subscription to PlayStation 2 magazine, and just I've got like CD binders filled with every month after month demo disc.
Wasn't that how you got the Metal Gear Solid 3 demo?
Yeah. Oh, and we played that a lot, didn't we? Because that demo, it was the start of the game, but it gave you all the weapons. Yeah. Which is another really good feature for the demo, was just to give you tons of stuff, just to mess around.
Oh shit! Final Fantasy 14 just came out.
What, literally just now?
Like this second. Is this breaking news? Is this breaking news, Will?
Breaking news for me. It might have been out for a few days actually. But
as in,
it's on sale on Steam.
It's on Steam.
The MMO.
I get it.
Oh, that's a World Reborn.
Yeah, a Realm.
Oh,
Reborn.
that's the beta one I played, and I played it for like 10 minutes. I was like, yep, that's good for me. That's another thing, is like betas essentially demos, like Brian said,
but
and even then,
demos. Like a demo should be polished and like accurately represent what it is that you're about to buy and play all the way through.
Not just cheap labour.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that me playing the Elder Scrolls Online beta was a demo, and it was pretty accurate to what it's going to be, minus the Guild Wars PvP that they're doing.
I don't know, it just, like, it doesn't seem the same, like, with beta access and early access and shit. Like, because it gives you a poor impression of what it is. Like, you play it and you're like, oh, it's a broken piece of shit. And it's like, well, it's beta. What do you expect? And you're like, well, yeah, but now I'm not going to buy the real thing. Oh, no, wait, I already did.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of people, like myself included, will go into early access without properly knowing what you're getting yourself in for. Like with Starbound, that I mentioned before. I didn't imagine it to be that bloody bare and that glitchy and that shite.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't worth, like, pre-ordering it for that.
Whereas the demo is like an hour and a half, and it's free, and it's polished, and it feels good, and it makes you feel good, and it makes you want to buy the game.
Yeah,
that's what it should do. Yeah, and it's not like, it doesn't drag on like a beta access would. It doesn't make you bored of the whole thing by the time it actually comes out.
Well, they're two different games though. You wouldn't have a demo for Starbound, but you wouldn't have open beta for a game like Castlevania 2.
I guess.
If you see what I mean.
No, yeah, but
it depends on the game.
You
well,
could
I'd just say
I don't know. I think you can have you can't have beta access for everything, but you can have a demo for anything.
Yeah, and as a general concept, I'd say beta access is pretty flawed.
Yeah, whereas like beta access doesn't help sell the game. Like, the thing that sells beta access, because beta access is a purchasable thing now, the thing that sells it is like, oh, you get to play an early version of the game. Which
It essentially
sounds shit.
because you're so used to getting things right there, right now, you can play this game that's going to be in development for the next 6 months right now.
Yeah, you greedy capitalist bastard.
Whereas,
So,
like nowadays, I would just rather wait until it's good, wait until it's
Well,
polished.
how I view it is, it's like if you saw a painting, if the artist let you sit in halfway through, you'd be like, wow, this is shit.
Well,
That's what it is.
as somebody,
that's kind of what Will's streams are like.
as somebody that streams art, I would say it's interesting to watch the process, but you wouldn't want to be involved in it yourself.
It doesn't necessarily
unless-
translate,
like-
but
It
you
doesn't.
get the
No, it
actual-
doesn't translate at all. Like, if developers live streamed them
If you- no.
making games,
That's actually the appeal to early access stuff. If you're into game design and stuff, you're interested
Yeah.
in bug reports. But if you're not, like if
Yeah.
you're not an artist, not interested in the artistic process, you'd be like, this sucks.
yeah.
Some of the stuff like on Kickstarter, if you like chip in £500, they'll say like exclusive Skype call with the developers. Like that's the
I
stuff
don't
for the
get that.
serious.
It's like, what the fuck would you do with that Skype call? You'd be like, hi.
I like your game.
It depends.
How is it going?
If you're
If it's a
actually in the
small
industry,
dev team, they probably like they'd like to listen to you because you just gave them £500, which is probably like a third of what they want or something stupid. Like you'd probably listen to them.
Yeah.
And also they say stuff like if you pay £5,000, you'll be the executive producer sort of thing
Yeah, but
because you've
which is a
technically
bit
funded
shit
the game.
because you're paying for a credit you didn't actually earn.
Well, you've technically funded the game. It's like a publisher
but
game.
you didn't
being on the
produce
credits.
it in the sense that you kind of oversaw the process. It's like
Yeah,
if you
that's
went
what
into
it's
a,
exactly-
Yeah, I mean,
a
a
job interview
producer-
and you said, I have this credit, which all I did to get it was pay a lot of money.
yeah, like actually producing shit requires like effort and work and skill and time, not just a shit ton of money.
And in the final closing minute,
I think we've learned that we just hate the game industry right now.
no, we're
Like,
grumpy.
we just don't like what's going on.
sucks. Ah.
Mogus sucks. Dark Souls rules. COD sucks.
Mr. 90s.
I miss Blockbuster.
I miss demos
It's
and magazines. Fucking.
These kids these days with their Farmville. Fuck them.
Touchpad ass simulators.
Touch my ass.
We're
Wasn't
not
there like a
even that old.
PSP thing where you could like caress someone's boobs and touch their ass or something?
Oh, there's a Japanese game, yeah.
Tons of games like that.
That's shocking, Japan. That is disgusting. I bet our Japanese viewers that totally exist, they're probably like, well, we're sorry.
Sorry about that. That's cool.
We kind of barely touched that game. We just were like, oh, it's alright.
Arklash.
Yeah.
There isn't much to touch on. It's fun. Go play it, and it's on sale at the moment.
It's a demo.
Yeah.
Next week we play Goat Simulator.